Oh no! An evil organization wants to take over the world by reviving an ancient enemy. Who else can stop these evil people? Well, I know who. The Gunstars will. Who are the Gunstars, you say? Well, it's Gunstar Heroes for the Sega Genesis today on the Season 5 premiere of Power Up. Everybody, welcome to the Season 5 of Power Up. Wow! Well, first of all, thank you for watching so far, and let's hope this year is just as good as last year was. Well, for this game, I decided to do, well, first of all, I should say, as usual, the last review I did, as you know, was Ikaruga for the GameCube, and that game was made by Treasure, who made excellent games. And actually the game I'm going to review next for this Season 5 premiere, you probably see it playing behind me over here. It's Gunstar Heroes for the Sega Genesis. It's a really fun game, and it was, I think, it might have been I don't know if it was the first game made by Treasure, but it was a darn good one. Well, let's go and shoot up some stuff, shall we? Gunstar Heroes is basically a run-and-gun game, or a shooter, or whatever you like to call it. To begin off, you have 4 weapons that you can choose, and those 4 can be combined in pairs to create an additional 10 weapons, for 14 total weapons. So what's cool about that is for this review, let's see here, for this review, I started out with what's kind of like the force gun or whatever. No, not that kind of force of Star Wars, different kind of force. But the force gun, this one is basically a really machine gun, basically. A really powerful, fast machine gun. And I think I started out, it got the double force, so it got really powerful, boom, boom, boom. But midway through this level, I got the homing gun, and I combined those two for the force homing gun. So all I have to do is shoot rubber and it would home in on the enemies. Granted, it did make the game a little bit easier, but hey, you can do what you want. The other ones I believe as well are besides the force and the chaser, are fire and light, like a laser type weapon. But all 4 of those can be switched out and mix and matched for, again, 14 total weapons to choose from. And also, you can also do close combat. So you can grab and toss enemies, you can do sliding and jumping attacks, and long-range skid, or slide. The funny thing is in this game is, too, in the game, your life is not as life bar, but numbers. And if you die, lose all your hits and numbers, you have the option to continue from this or other level or in the game. And thankfully, in the harder difficulty levels, I should say for all difficulty levels, you get infinite continues. Because even easy can be very hard, it can be nasty hard for some people. And if I may say, some of the levels in this game are awesome. You begin to pick from, remember those gems I just mentioned about a couple minutes ago? Well, in this game you get to choose from 4 levels to play as. Kind of reminds me of Mega Man. You can pick any of the 4 levels in any order. And some of those levels go from going to like a little village or going onto a freaking airplane flying thingy. But one of my favorites is going down and basically you start on this mine shaft. And let me see here. And the night enemies are out slow, and then it just goes phew fast. So here you go, you're on this little mine cart, beating enemies, shooting them down, and trying to stay alive, which is cool. And anyway, after those 4 are completed, by the way, out of those 4 too, you go to what's called the Dice Palace, in which you go through this opening little section in this guy's level. I think it's Black, I think his name is. And after you go through the opening part of the level, you at this part where you see this game board. Wow, what the heck do I do here? So as it turns out, you basically throw this dice and you play this game board. Whenever you land, it's either good or bad, or mostly bad. But basically you land and you have to either fight up. All they are basically miniature boss battles. And they do have quite a lot of health too, so if you die, that's not too good. But it's really fun. And after all that, after you fight the last boss in those 4, but the game is not over yet, not by a long shot. It's basically after that, you go on a space mission, and basically you go in outer space in the spaceship, and you fight this humongous spaceship you have to go on. And then after that, by the way, that spaceship you can fire in 4 directions. But of course, I think before you fire, you push the direction and then you can fire. But you'll find that out soon enough. But it's really, all I know is it's awesome. It's cool. And also, after that, you go, which is really cool, after that part, then you go the final, basically one of the final levels is, as you fight, you'll see like it's on like you're on TV, and as you see the 4 bosses are watching you where you go. And if you once in a while, you'll see these bosses, they leave the area to come fight you, which is cool. And that's a really nice touch nonetheless. So yeah, this game is pretty dang awesome if you ask me. Also, story-wise, actually this game has 2 different stories. There's the Japanese story and the Western story, which is the Western story meaning what I got in the manual. That's in the instruction manual for the Genesis version of this game. Basically, the Western story was basically, I'll try to Cliff's Notes this. Basically, there's a Gunstar family has been the protector of this Gunstar planet, Gunstar 9 for generations. This professor in his youth, he defeated this robot, Gold and Silver. Machine traveled millions of miles to suck G9 dry. The professor was able to extract the 4 famous mystical gems and imprison the robot on one of the moons of G9. But years later, new menace has arisen. Colonel Rad, a dictator, found out that the Gunstars knew where the mystical gems were. So they kidnapped the Gunstar twins' older brother Green, used a mind control machine to make him obey. And so with the Green's help, Colonel Rad, he gets all the gems, basically he screws over the world. Not good stuff. And in the Japanese story, it's basically the world was nearing its end. Evil organization made ultimate weapon, Golden Server, God of Ruin. The Gunstars, red, blue, green, yellow, seeing the earth turn bad and fueled by anger, had a showdown and beat him. And to make sure he wasn't coming back, they seal his body on the moon to take the 4 gems that made him go and seal them in separate places, and seal the gems on separate places on Earth. And so after that, they got pushed to the limits. They prayed for a civilization to come, and they went to sleep. And then, time passed, new civilization was built, and a legend was spread saying, revive the god that sleeps on the moon, and all that fun stuff, and he will guide people to utopia. So then the Empire, seeing his quote-unquote Empire, believed in the legend and wanted to carry it out. So he sent people to the moon, and then he tried to mine for the 4 gems that would call this god forth. So then the mining excursion, the leader of the mining excursion in this first story, it's Dr. Brown, uncovered the Gunstars. And once they awakened, they learned of the Empire's plan to revive the big bad Golden Silver, although the Green, the companion they had lost his memory and was assisting the Empire for the revival. And that's pretty much it. I know it's not the best. I know I'm kind of skipping over a lot of stuff, but Yeah, but that's pretty much the basis of both those stories. And actually, the Japanese, actually, I should say, treasure actually goes by the Japanese story than the Western story. They count the Japanese story as canon, whereas the Western story is, I guess, rubbish or whatever. Anywho, if you plan on getting this game is on the PlayStation Network, the Xbox Live Arcade, as well as Nintendo's Virtual Console. And also, might I add, this game in 2006 was released on the PlayStation 2 as part of the Gunstar Heroes Treasure Box. Although that one I believe was in Japan, but I think you can import it. There should be ways to, play it on, if you have a Japanese PS2 or you have a device that can, yeah, sorry, yeah, you can do that. But yeah, it was on. Those were the ways you can get it, and as well, it was also ported to the Game Gear as well. But that was way before the Virtual Console, PSN, and Xbox Live Arcade one. So there's no excuse to not pick this up. This is a really fun and enjoyable game, I think. And also to add, besides being it was an enjoyable game, I remember when my uncle, even though I myself was not a Genesis fan, back in the day, I was a big Nintendo fan. Of course I still am, but anywho, I did eventually get the Genesis and all, and I do have a healthy Genesis collection nowadays, as well as a Sega CD collection. But no, I really enjoyed playing Gunstar Heroes. It was a really enjoyable game, and I finished it a couple times. And it's really fun. I'll get to my recommendation in a second here. But the controls feel good, and it's a really enjoyable, heck of a game to play. And also it's cool as well. You can also choose, at the beginning. I forgot to mention this. You can choose at the beginning of the game whether to have a fixed shot or a free shot. What that means is you can choose either you can fire while moving, or fire while standing still. So you can't move while firing, or you can fire while on the run. So it's kind of cool that they had that option in there, which is pretty neat. So yeah. So anyway, So please give this game a pick up. I would, first of all, my recommendation is highly recommended. Especially, I should say, especially if you like running old school running guns like Contra and stuff like that, this game highly recommended. And as usual, before I wrap up, if you live in or around South St. Paul, Minnesota, or the Minnesota Twin Cities area, please make sure to visit my good friends at Level Up Games. The address should be right below my chin or around there if it isn't already. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, please rate and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And if you're watching this on Facebook, cool. And if you're watching this on YouTube, awesome. And also, I have as I just mentioned, I have a Facebook fan and group page, as well as a small fledgling Google Plus page, and a Twitter feed as well. Now that stuff is down below as well. Well, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for another episode of Power Up.